guys, and welcome back to Getting There, the podcast. Now, today we have a very special guest, I guess. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, I'm sure you will know who Bonnie Blue is. Bonnie Blue is an online adult content creator. Some may call her a prostitute. And quite frankly, I've been more scared to speak to Bonnie Blue than I was with Tommy Robinson or Ali Dwar. But as always, this show has been driven by my curiosity. And let me tell you, my curiosity was sparked when I heard about her story and where she was heading. I wanted to understand the driving force of what would drive a young girl to go and sleep with 1,000 men in a day. And not only that, to make it okay. Now, for me, this whole episode is highlighting exactly what is wrong in the world. For me, ladies and gentlemen, nothing is sacred anymore. Our time, our bodies, our reputations. This, ladies and gentlemen, is getting there. I feel like this conversation's been a bit of a long time coming, hasn't it?
It has. I'm glad it's finally happening.
Yeah, me too, but I'm not going to lie. I am probably more nervous to speak to you than when I spoke to Tommy Robinson.
Really?
Yeah. Or Ali Dwar, because like when I put the feelers out, I got really mixed. Like everyone was like so curious, right?
Yeah.
About what is you're doing. And for me, this is my show, right? And I'm really interested on everyone's journey of getting there, wherever there is to them, like whatever destination they're heading to. I think it was actually my second ever podcast was with an underage sex worker.
Oh, okay.
And so I was curious by that. And for me, as my platform's grown, it seems that I've been given responsibility, right? So I almost am getting pushed to stop having conversations, right? I mean, if you knew the backlash I got before I did Tommy or Ali, but for me, if we shy away from these conversations, you don't make it not happen.
Yeah, for sure.
And your journey has really been curious to me because it's remarkable, interesting. It's very taboo to me. And for me, I wanted to know about the driving force that is behind Bonnie Blue. What brought you here today? Where you're going? Are you really thinking about what's going to happen in the future? Like, I'm not here to shame you yet. This is just me, woman to woman, genuinely interested. So without any further ado, is it Bonnie or Tia today?
Bonnie.
Why?
Everyone sort of calls me Bonnie now anyway.
But your real name is Tia?
Yes, real name
We
is
can
Tia.
take that out if you want. But I'm just curious. Obviously, you're very proud of what you've done, but why can I not refer to you as Tia? What would be the reason for that?
So when I originally started, I think if I'd have known it was going to be as big as it was, I probably would have gone just as Tia. To start with, it was a cam girl. I thought no one would know. I was a bit ashamed about it. I didn't know what to expect. And I literally Googled porn names and came up with Bonnie Blue. It was literally you pick a name
like
from
a
one
standard
side.
one, yeah?
You pick a name from one side and then you connect it to another side. And that is basically what I did. It was as simple as that. But I really liked the name. And then once I chose Bonnie, I feel like my whole life has changed and I've become happier and I much prefer the person I am now to who I used to be. So now even my friends and my family most of the time refer to me as Bonnie.
Bonnie?
Sometimes if I'm around other people, it'll be Bonnie, other times T, sometimes Tia.
So how long ago did you become Bonnie?
Only last year, so it wasn't that long. It's like May, June.
Okay.
Time.
So can you talk to me about that a little bit of time in your life? Because I've listened to some of the stuff you've done. You said you've had, so we're going to save this bit, but you've had a very standard upbringing, apparently, right? Moved to Australia, got married, which I don't think anyone knows about that too much. Yeah. And lived a pretty ordinary life.
Yes.
So what was driving you for this massive change? And to rename yourself and create this new identity, which is probably which is going to stick with you for the rest of your life.
100%. So I just went through the emotions in life. I wasn't depressed, but I was not necessarily happy. And I was always chasing the next thing. So as soon as I finished school, I got a job in recruitment. And it was quite a stressful job, salesy, but I'd always see my dad sort of not necessarily enjoying work, but it's like you just have to work. That is just life. You go to work and you try and make that 20% of your life better, which is your Saturday and Sunday. So even though I really disliked Monday to Friday, I was like, that's just life. You have to accept that. There's nothing you can do to better it. You just have to try and improve your Saturday and Sunday. So then I'd try getting more of a fancy car, or I'd think, okay, I'm going to have a kitchen extension. Okay, let's go on a nicer holiday. But all of that is just 20% of your life.
Yeah.
And I was just unhappy for 80% of it.
Married at this point, yeah?
Yeah, married.
Do you think he could have been part of the problem?
No, like we was happy, not like completely, like I guess overly happy, but I was more than content. Like it was nothing to do with the relationship. It was more, I was, you know, in a relationship, got a house, I was married, and I was like, okay, well, what's next? Like it would just sort of felt, if I carry on how I am, I'm going to get to an old age and go, what have I done in my life that I'm super proud of? What have I looked back on and gone, wow, I've had an amazing life. I've traveled, I've had freedom, I've been given flexibility. I was just going to have done a life, retired, gone on a few holidays extra, and that was it. And I thought, I don't want to get old and think that was life. Like you have one chance.
So what brings you to this opportunity of camming? And I've got another question, like, how long did you think about doing it? Or was it just like an instant decision? Like, did you dabble with it for a bit?
No. So I'd had 2 years off in Australia and...
2 years off work, yeah?
Yeah, off work. So I'd relocated, had 2 years off, just enjoying myself, living a beach lifestyle.
And how was that supported?
Through savings. Okay. So I'd like saved, sold my house, sold everything I'd had in the UK. So I'd had a good amount of savings behind me. And then when it came going back to work, my family and friends were like, God, you've just had the best 2 years of your life. And I was like, even though those 2 years were good, I was like, is that it? Have I had the highlight of my life already? I was like, because I'm not ready to accept my life is now just work, potentially children, and that's it. And so yeah, when it came to coming back, I was on TikTok and I kept seeing people saying you could cam online. You do it from home, you can choose your own hours, you can get naked or you can stay fully clothed. And these women was all different shapes.
So you're seeing it on TikTok, yeah? So like an advertising, are you telling me?
It was an agency at the time saying, look, no matter what, like shape, size.
Welcome everyone.
Yeah.
Experience, not experience, come
100%.
join.
These people were earning anything from like £50 to like hundreds and hundreds of pounds a day. And I was like, wow, okay, I could literally sit at home in my bedroom. I could wake up early, you know, go and do a few hours of camming, head to the beach, come back in the evening and do additional camming.
And what about your husband in that?
Yeah, instantly supportive. Because
that to me, right, is friggin' wild, yeah?
Yeah.
Wild. Like my partner or any other guy that I've ever been with are probably quite fiercely protective. And I actually find that in a weird way attractive, right? Because they don't want what everyone...
Like that's mine.
That's mine. I don't want what everyone else has got. So if I turned around and he was like, yeah, I'm not fussed, I'd think, don't you want to claim me? Don't you want to protect me? You're objectifying yourself and he's letting everyone else have a look, is what his crown jewels are.
I think
Did you not think less of him for that?
Definitely not. It was focused on happiness. He used to see me every day, going to work, sitting in rush hour, phoning him on my lunch break, stressing about sales, coming home, being upset because work was really hard. And then he could say, okay, I'm basically going to be putting her back in that environment. If I say to her, no, you need to go and do an office job. So when it was, okay, I could literally go into the bedroom next door, like it was just online, in my own safety.
I get his point, yeah?
Yeah.
So he feels like he's walking you off to this office job and you're like, right, it's the office or it's the bedroom, right?
Yeah.
There is this avenue in between. No, like you are incredibly beautiful. Yeah. And from speaking to you, you're incredibly intelligent. Like I didn't know that you had savings at that young age.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
25.
So you sold your house at how old?
I think it's 21, 22.
I mean, sweet Jesus. And a lot of people that I know are in their 40s don't even have their house. But it seems to me that your life was at a fork road, but you never saw a path in the middle, that there could have been something in between.
So I think camming's good for quick money. Like for me, it was you get paid the same day. So, okay, if you're saying I could have maybe modelling or something like that. One, I don't really enjoy the photos and stuff like that. I've never really had social media until recently.
Yeah.
Whereas
how much did you get paid the first day?
Camming, it was just under 1,000 AUD. So that's about £500.
For your first time?
For my first time. So I said to my partner at the time, I might only make about $50, about £25. Because on this group chat with all these other girls, they was like, they were saying they'd made like a couple of $100 a week.
Yeah.
Because you get put in like different stages in the group chat, the newbies, the experienced ones. So I said to him, look, if I don't make any money, that's normal. Like, don't expect me to, And then like the first call, the money with tips were just going up and I was like, oh my God. And before this, I'd only slept with 5 people and I didn't know what I was doing. I've got
questions, yeah? I've got so many questions. So you're in the spare room, yeah?
Yeah.
camming? Is he watching? Is he like, put this there, put that there, that's really good?
No. So we'd gone and brought some dildos together.
Right, okay.
Before, because I didn't even have any. And then I said to him, like, you need to leave the apartment. Like, I just can't. I just felt like either a bit embarrassed and I didn't want him to hear me. Because when you just feel like you don't know what you're doing. So I was like, okay, you just need to leave the apartment.
This is wild to me that anyone would let their wife do that.
Yeah, like
wild.
Before, I would have perhaps agreed. Whereas now, especially that I've got friends that are in the industry and they now physically sleep with other people, I don't see it like that. I see it as, in a way, they've got such a good connection that their boyfriends don't feel like they need to be keeping them in a cage.
This is my problem, yeah? Is that a relationship, like I get the same, when people have like three-way relationships, yeah? It's meant to be sacred and you're meant to value each other and uphold each other and protect each other.
Yeah.
By him sharing you, it goes against the intimacy of any relationship. Or like you're saying, you've met people here through your industry that share, essentially. Like that to me is not what we were here to do. We were here to grow together and create this intimate, loving environment. And it sounds to me like he fed you out to the wolves.
Yeah, no, completely like the opposite. Like, he just wanted me to be happy. He saw doing this was making me happy.
Do you reckon he would have let you sleep with someone if you'd have said, I want to be a prostitute? Like, I want to sleep. Yeah.
I think if that was, because we'd been together such a long time as well, it wasn't a new relationship. So we was overly comfortable with each other. We'd seen each other grow as people. So yeah, he'd been more than comfortable.
So you think maybe you weren't in love then?
I was definitely in love with him. Like towards the end of the relationship, we was more loving as opposed to deeply in love, but it's got nothing to do with the relationship of why I did this. He didn't force me into it. It was,
of course, yeah.
And it massively boosted my confidence. So up until that point, I can remember even not wanting to go to the beach. I didn't want to. I just didn't feel comfortable in myself.
But like what? What would have been your internal thought? I'm ugly. I'm fat. I just can't be bothered. Or
like you see all these other people, tiny, really toned, they're like stomachs, and I was just like, I don't look like that. Like I don't want to go to the beach in a bikini. I feel like I'm going to be looked at, even though you're not. Like no one actually cares.
No one's judging you the way you're judging you.
I just felt like a little bit disgusted in myself. Didn't feel like overly happy or confident. And then when you're speaking to that amount of people and they're saying, oh, you're beautiful, or they're interested, they're wanting to speak to you, it massively helped my confidence. And I can remember the next day waking up going, okay, let's go to the beach. Like I want to put a bikini on.
One of the biggest things I've learned in my journey of getting there is that I've done something similar to you. Okay, I guess I've always waited for everyone else to clap me bonny and like tell me I'm enough. Like for my whole life, I've waited for my parents to be like, oh, that was amazing, or partners or everyone to just tell me that I was enough, right?
Yeah.
And the truth is, we spend our lives waiting for people to clap for us. And what I've come to learn is the only clap that's real is mine. Like if I don't clap for myself after this interview and I go home and go, or whatever, like Brogan did a great job with this today, or you're a great mother, then it doesn't matter if you tell me till I'm blue in the face that I'm beautiful or I'm a great mum. I have to believe it myself. And the claps that you're chasing from people, they're going to go and they're going to fade. And my question, I guess, is, was there not a better way to feel great about yourself? Like for me, it's the gym, right? Not just the aesthetics part, but it's the brain for me. Like I have to go. I like the challenge of it.
Yeah.
I like
it's
feeling the endorphins.
Yeah, 100%.
The endorphins. And for you chasing people to tell you you're enough, all of this is going to stop at some point.
So
right?
that was just at the start. When I started, it was purely for money. I'd never even thought it was going to give me confidence or a boost, but within 24 hours, it did. The confidence now isn't, I've got confidence. It doesn't, I get a lot of hate, but I'm still super confident now. So it's got nothing to do with people saying, hey, you're beautiful. I feel, great in myself. I'm happier than ever. So yeah, if I was still chasing that now, okay, I'd be in the wrong job, but it's not like I started for money. I got the money, but it gave me confidence, which now is completely just reset. Again, I guess it gave me like a reset button, and now it's not what I'm chasing. It's just I have confidence.
So you got 1,000 US Aussie dollars, which is what in English?
About £500.
Okay, first day.
Yeah,
got paid first day. What does the next few weeks look like then?
So for the first 2 weeks, I was camming 12 to 16 hours a day. Like I was obsessed with it.
Weren't you tired?
Yeah, yes and no, but I've always enjoyed earning money, just like most people. And I was seeing okay, this could actually be life-changing for me. I can wake up when I want. I get to choose when I work. If I want to go to the beach for a few hours, I can. And I was like, okay, wow, could give me so much freedom in my life. And like I said, that's the biggest thing for me. Yes, money gives you sort of, even though people say it doesn't give you happiness, it does, but it's the freedom. That was what I was chasing. And yeah, so the first 2 weeks I was on cam like non-stop, and I actually enjoyed it.
Not like, where is she? Oh, she's just banging in the other room again.
Well, no, because obviously he was off at work. He was travelling in rush hour, coming back. So you're out of the house for a long amount of time. In the evenings, he was either going to rugby or going to the gym, just like a normal relationship would. So he wasn't getting back till late anyway. So I would just cam.
So when he comes home, is he like, how's your day? Anyone interesting?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I spoke to this person today. Oh my God, this person's into this.
And what was his reaction?
To start with, it was a bit like shocked of some of the requests I got or what people would ask.
Like what?
There's this one guy in particular. He was obsessed with black guys cum. So he'd buy people's condoms online and he'd have them stored in this cupboard. And he'd open the cupboard and he would choose 3 condoms. So it might say like 6'2", fireman.
And they're used?
Used, so they're full of cum.
And he's telling you this on the phone, yeah?
Like it's like a video call, yes. Yeah. He would then put that condom onto his penis, wank into it so that it was then his cum and the other guy's cum. And then he would like put it on an item of food. So he'd have 3 items of food. It could be like a biscuit, a piece of bread.
Is this a true story?
Yeah.
And then he eats it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he would do... Well,
okay, so like, would you ever want to meet that person in real life?
I mean, I'd happily yeah.
I feel like that would scare me. Like, it's like serial killer stuff.
Yeah, but you think that. But then I think, like, to start with, I did judge. I was like, okay, this is so weird.
Yeah.
But then I, like... One, he didn't look weird because you'd think this type of person, as I'm sure you imagine in your head, would look weird. No, nice person. You'd pass him in the shop and think nothing of it. And I was like, you know what? If this is what he enjoys, who am I to judge to say?
But you could pass serial killers in the shop and not know that, like, they're
weird. Yeah, no, 100%. But they're probably not coming online. But yeah, to start with, I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. Then I was like, okay, this is his space. Other people, like you said, have got the gym. This is what he enjoys. He's paying for it. He's doing nothing wrong in my eyes. And I'm like, you know what? If that's what gets him to wake up the next day, you know, treat his wife to a cup of tea in bed and go off to work, I think, okay, you do what suits you. As long as that makes you happy and it's above board, I've started to realise, like, I prefer not to judge people. Like, yes, I might not go and do that myself.
Yeah.
But if that's what you want to do and that suits you, like, the key thing is happiness. And if that's what makes you happy, who cares if I'm going to sit there and think, oh, that was a bit odd.
Do you think it's unfaithful, these men who are camming to girls while they've got partners?
No. Before, yes, I would have been like, oh my God, cheating is so wrong. Or like, oh my God, like, if I remember like catching my ex on porn before and I'd be like, have a bit of a bag on with him that night.
Yeah.
But then now I'm like, like, so for my ex before, if I'd caught him watching pornography, I'd have thought, oh, it's because he prefers that girl. He thinks she's more attractive or he likes her body or he doesn't want to sleep with me tonight.
Yeah.
But it's probably that it's come and give me a kiss, probably seeing if I was in the mood. I wasn't. And then instead of like pestering me or, you know, doing something I don't want, they then go and sort of sort themselves out, come back, get tucked into bed, have a cuddle, go to sleep.
So any of these men did you build a relationship with on like the cam?
Yeah, you do start to, because some of them, they speak to you on a regular basis and they'll tell you about their life, either their family, they'll tell you about what they've been up to. So you sort of get to know them. They're like, they do like become friends. Like you do speak to them on a regular basis. I feel like you're unveiling
a whole new world to me, right? Because I've never watched porn.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, though, we'll get onto it. Myself and my brother-in-law started doing some market research into like what you do, and I was holding onto the table. I was like, this can't be real. And I was like, is this what happens now?
Yeah. Why? What was it?
Oh, it was very graphic, Bonnie. I was like, oh, we'll get into that. It was very messy. And I was like, no, this can't be real because it's making me heave, right? But anyway, you're enjoying yourself. You're over dinner talking about the relationships as such. You're building on cam. And then what catapults it to this like next step?
Okay, so I'd set up Instagram to help boost traffic towards the camming stuff. And then people that was in my area reached out to say like, oh, hey, like I do OnlyFans. Like, did you want to do a collab? And in my head, I was like, okay, yeah, that's amazing. That will help boost my content. So
for our viewers, that means, would you like to have sex and we'll record it? And we'll share it on our platforms, yeah?
Yeah,
okay.
So you film it. And I never really even crossed my mind to think at this point, okay, I'm going to be having sex with someone else. It was just like a promotion at work. That's what it felt like at the time. I was like, okay, wow, someone's realised I'm in the area. You know, I am, I guess, a sex worker now. Yes, of course. That felt like the natural right step to do.
So you go and film your first one.
Yes.
What was that like? How was your husband about that? 'Cause it's just about gone up a notch, right?
Yes.
One thing, you're talking to someone behind cameras, is another thing, someone's being able to see your wife's vagina and your wife naked.
Yeah, so this was actually 2 2 other girls and 2 guys, because this one got organised before that the boy girl one, and turned up. We all got undressed and everyone was in like silence basically, because we was all really new to the industry.
Awkward.
So awkward. And me and the girls, we got on top of the guys, put it in, and just no one was moaning. And in my head I was thinking, is the sound added afterwards? Like, do we do it faster? Do we do it slower? Like, I was like thinking, I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it was the most awkward video of my life.
Have you rewatched it?
I can't. It was one of those, even afterwards, someone who was like, it was my first scene. I was like, I don't know what it's meant to be, but that just isn't it.
It just wasn't it.
And then like I can remember like seeing clips of it afterwards, and it didn't look as bad or as awkward as what it actually was in person. So yeah, that was my first one.
With my therapy hat on, right? Sometimes when situations are too much for me, I desensitize, and it's like I'm like, oh, this is like, you almost forget you're there, you become numb, and I'm actually wondering if maybe you were just really overwhelmed. Right.
No, like I'm not someone that gets really overwhelmed. Like it was more just a bit awkward. Like I was excited, but I was more letting them take lead, I guess, because I hadn't done it before. They had done a handful of sort of collabs beforehand. So I was like, okay, I'll just go by their lead. And then quickly after that one, I was like, I don't know what that was, but that was a shambles.
Yeah.
So then after that, I was always not necessarily bossy, but I was like, okay, this is how I want it. This is how I want it to look. This is how I want it to feel. Or this is the type of video I want to put out. So yeah, the first one was a massive learning curve. And it's like anything. If you go for your first meeting, if you host your first podcast, you come away thinking, okay, this is what I need to change. This is what I need to do better. And to start with, it was very much a business. And that's how I saw it. I didn't see it for pleasure as such. Like I enjoyed it, but I didn't think, oh, I need to finish on camera, or I need to, have an amazing time. I thought, as long as I'm happy and I'm okay, that's it. It was.
So would you call yourself a prostitute?
I don't really know, to be honest. People call me a prostitute, and I'm more than happy to.
Because I don't know what the actual, we can probably get it up, definition of prostitute is, but I think it's sexual interactions exchanged for money.
Yeah. And that is, I guess, basically what I do. So yeah, I always think if people want to call me a prostitute, I'm happy to.
How does that feel though?
See, before I thought prostitutes was sort of, in a way, like poor health, stood at the side of the street doing it because they can't pay rent, and in a way quite dirty and like an unhealthy environment, or I think they've got like an alcohol problem or a drug addiction. Whereas when I started the industry and then I got friends in the industry, I was amazed at how classy it is, how sophisticated it can be, and how these people haven't necessarily got daddy issues or they're unhappy in their life.
It seems like for me, everything is up for sale. Like you say, you started on OnlyFans and everything. Yeah, and it's just something that I struggle with.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not for everyone. Some people, yes, but whereas other people like yourself, I'd be like, no, don't do it. You'd hate it. You want to have fun. It'd probably go against your morals or what you believe in. Whereas for someone like myself, like now I'm super passionate about it, and I actually believe it makes relationships better. But I think a lot of the time
it's been made to look glamorous, right?
Oh my God,
you to someone, you look glamorous, you look beautiful. I'm sure you've got a lovely life now, right? The same as these sex workers that I was saying before. But underneath that, we are having transactions that are not true, right? That are not authentic. That like, for example, the content that you are creating is not the sex that you have in real life, right?
It is now, wasn't before.
But for me, so I know you spoke earlier on another podcast, and you said a lot of these young men are going out, they're having unprotected sex at the end of the night with people who could have STDs, that are drunk, and that when they come to you, that you're giving them a type of sex education, right? And that you wouldn't mind your son losing his virginity like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So at the heart of what sex is, it's like intimacy, communication, respect. So by someone going and losing their virginity and having to pay for it, they are then robbed of that transaction of what it is to be truly intimate.
I think if people lost their virginity to someone they was in a long-term relationship with, and that's how everyone did it, then I'd agree. However, people aren't in long-term relationships, especially at the young age. They're not, when they lose their virginity, there's not hardly anyone that's had a good experience or they've lost it in a pleasurable way.
Right? Like you said, your first scene, you work on it. We spoke earlier. I was like, oh my God, if you'd seen my first podcast, the first time you have sex, they're probably meant to guess what holes did it go in. Do you know what I mean? And we're trying to create this illusion of what things should look like rather than what they should feel like. And my worry is, if this were to happen to my son, is that he's not respecting himself, because he can go and get a girl, go and communicate, and be able to enter that in like a loving way and make those mistakes of like whatever hole it is or however long it lasts. Like, I'm sure it's a really short time. And I feel that we're overriding of what it is to be intimate.
I think, if we was going back in time and most people was in, when they get married young, remember my grandparents, they got married like 17, 18. Like, if that was the type of environment we was in, then I'd be thinking, I'm taking something away from them. But it's not. Majority of the people that lose their virginity, it's on a night out, or they've been, like I said, they've been drinking. It's an unsafe environment. They're not educated in the bedroom. And that can be both dangerous for the guy and, and the girl. So I think, there's nothing but benefits from me doing what I do.
Yeah, so we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want my son to feel like he has to pay for sex.
But I do it for free.
Yeah.
It's completely free. So before, like...
But it's devaluing him as a person, that for me, everything that's worth having in life you work for, right?
Yeah.
So I would hope that the first person he doesn't meet on night out, he just doesn't sleep with, I hope he like chases her a bit. I hope he's very gentlemanly. And by just giving stuff that is so sacred, right? It's the heart of what we are. They're called private parts for a reason. And by us just giving it all away, it just worries me. Like, where does society go through next, right? So my problem is, nothing is sacred anymore, Bonnie, right? Our time, our bodies, your reputation, our sexual energy. So it worries me for the future of the children, of like, everything is up for grabs. Like, there is nothing sacred and divine.
I think it's only up to grabs if you allow it to be. Like, my body's up for grabs, your body isn't. So it's because I choose for mine to be.
But you are so beautiful and intelligent. Why should your body be up for grabs? Don't you want men going, right, listen, because if I was you, like, you can be intelligent with this. I want someone to fucking chase the life out of me, And I'm sure you're intelligent enough, manipulative enough, like all of us women are, and beautiful enough for that to happen. Why do you want to just give it for free when it's you, and you're never going to be able to get this again, right? So years ago, women could go and be sluts or whatever and be promiscuous, and you might, they could turn their life around when they're like 30, right? And we would never know. The problem is now we live on the internet, right?
Yes.
So you can't go to the toilet without me knowing about it, pretty much. So everything you are doing now is affecting the rest of your life. And there may come a point where you're going to sit down and teach your daughter what it's like to be a woman, what it's like for her first time of intercourse, and you're going to have all of this backlash and pain behind you that it worries me. And listen, it's obviously not any of my business, but it worries me about you and similar women coming to regret that, because I've done things throughout my life, and I continue to do it now, Bonnie, because none of us are perfect, that you think, oh, fuck, I wish I hadn't done that, right? And we all do it, But then to have it on the internet for the rest of your life is a scary thought.
I know, and I think you've just done it then as well. People are assuming I'm going to regret it.
Yeah.
And I know I can't say 100%, no one can see in the future, but everyone is so confident I'm going to regret this.
Babe, we'll come back on here in 5 years.
Yeah,
time.
honestly, give me 20 years. But my life has changed. I've never seen my family so happy. I've never seen myself so happy when I look in the mirror. And I'm so proud of what I've achieved and what I'm going to achieve.
Right, question then. Let's bring your family into it. Your mum is your assistant?
She's employed.
She has been known to clean the bed sheets, move condoms. Okay, and you pay her?
Yes.
So do you think she would do that job so willingly if none of this had any money on it? So you finished school in Derby, and you were upstairs in her bedroom, and you had 100 men every day. Do you think your mum would be giving up her job, changing the bed sheets, and handing you a new condom?
Well, no, because everyone has to work. So she would have to go to work. So it wouldn't be her job. It'd be my job to clean it.
And you think she'd come home in her spare time, help you clean that out?
She'd always help me around the house as any mom should help me tidy my room.
But would you reckon she'd let the conveyor belt of men in?
Well, I wouldn't have done it at home, nor when I was with my partner at the time. We would hardly have sex if we stayed at my parents' house. Or if you do, it's very quiet. So it's very different than bringing people home. It's like I wouldn't have host a house party at my parents' house, let alone bring a conveyor of guys over. So, I wouldn't have a party there. And no, I wouldn't bring 100 men over.
Do you honestly believe she'd support you so much if you weren't getting paid?
Yeah, if I said this is making me happy, like the key thing, and I know I've said it, I probably sound like a broken record, is happiness. But she sees I'm happy. I don't ever wake up going, oh God, I don't want to go in today, or I don't want to do this today.
But are you happy because you're being paid? Like, would you be this happy if you were earning 50 quid a month on it?
Probably not 50 quid, no.
No.
But it's a mixture of having...
So the illusion of happiness is the money, right?
It's
and
the
I
freedom.
understand that freedom comes with money, but it's the money at the end of it. So I'm just curious if they would be so supportive if you were doing it for nothing.
So I'm like, the money's not everything, because if it was, I would be charging these people. I could charge £2,000-3,000
But on
per
a terms
person.
of a business model,
yeah,
they're creating you content and it's going out. So it's not, you're still able to monetize on their actions, right?
yeah, but I could do both. If I wanted more, if it was everything was money, and nor do I have to sleep with the amount of people I do. Half the videos as well don't get posted, and they still haven't been posted now, because it is not all about the money. It's about pleasure and it's about enjoyment. And a lot of these students and husbands I've slept with, halfway through, I put the phone down, or because I want them. So they record it, obviously.
On their phones?
On my phone, but I pass them the phone. So they've got control over what's filmed and what they can see in the camera.
Okay, right, let's bring it to the beginning. Right, I'm about to come see you on a visit. What does that look like?
So you've been in the queue probably for at least a few hours by now. You've been chatting to people.
Stop this there. Is it always a queue? Like, you never do one-on-one. It's just big numbers.
So sometimes I will give them like a set time, but it's too hard on me, like, to keep on top of messages. So sometimes I say, yeah, come and see me Sunday, 2:00.
So you don't do just sleep with one person like a day. It's always a queues of people.
So no, sometimes it will be, I'll probably do like 5, 10, sometimes like 20 that day. And the people will get a 2-hour time slot. So they can come by themselves or they can come with a group of friends. It's whatever they feel most comfortable with. So yeah, sometimes they get a 2-hour time slot, but it's so hard to organise it because it is chaos in my inbox. Trying to say, okay, yeah, you come at 2:00. And then they're like, no, actually, can I come at 3:00?
Do we not have Josh to manage that by now?
Well, for my next event, I have got like a full team now, but whereas before, like, it was mainly just me fielding through my inbox, and it was so difficult, which is why I started to doing hey, this is where I'm going to be.
Surely you're looking at some of these people and like, listen, like I said 1,000 times here today, you're beautiful. Yeah. Some of them I think, so, like, I look at them, and I think you must have disco willy. Like, that's got to stink.
What does disco willy mean?
Well, like, you know, when people have been out.
No, it's actually the opposite. Because they know they're purely seeing me for one purpose only, they smell of like Lynx aftershave, they're super fresh because they know they're coming to me for one reason. Whereas if you were just to meet someone on a date and then potentially go back, yeah, they might have not been freshly washed, but because they know what to expect, it's the complete opposite.
Some of these people look, I can say it, 'cause they won't want it, it's my show. Yeah. Really ugly and really dirty, and like, for example, disco willy. You know what I mean though, when people have gone out all night and they're just not clean and they're clammy. Like, I'm looking at some of them and I'm like, he's making me heave. Like the backs, like, yeah, I'm just wondering how you get over that, because you must have had people come in, I don't care what you say, over 1,000 that like smell or
but
made
then,
you
like
heave.
Smelling, no, but looks wise, you, whether they are good looking or, you know, ugly, you don't ever look at someone's face and that's what makes you finish. It's not. It's about their technique and how good they are in the bedroom. It's nothing to do with their actual face. So I don't have any problem with sleeping with someone that I perhaps wouldn't swipe, you know, left or right, you know, on Tinder with. It's purely, okay, I'm going to teach them on how to make me finish. I'm going to show them how to be good with their tongue or their fingers. So it's not to do with their appearance.
So do you look them in the eyes?
Yeah, I look them in the eyes. I would kiss them. I've got
Tongues?
no problem with that. If they want to use tongues, because it's not just about me in the video. It's like a much bigger picture than that. These people are either virgins or they haven't had sex before. So I sort of want to say to them that you can explore the woman's body. You can, like, and as much as some people think this is wrong, they don't have this anywhere else, because it goes from, you've learned about sex at school, you've learned, okay, if you don't wear a condom, you're probably going to get an STD and get the woman pregnant. That's the end of it. It then goes to Pornhub or, you know, other adult sites, and it's really rough scenes. They can be hair pulling, slapping, smacking, choking, and it can also be people.
Do you not do any of that?
I do as well, but I also show the other side. So, like, there's a lot of people that dress up as schoolgirls and work with content creators much older, and it's their, oh, I'm really innocent, I don't want this. 5 minutes later, it's lent into them bent over the desk doing a very rough scene. So that is very misleading, and that can be damaging for both women and guys, because as a 18-year-old, you know, schoolboy, they can watch that and think, oh, if these schoolgirls keep saying no, they don't want it, it does actually lead into a rough scene. They're just, you know, that's what I've seen online. And then for girls as well, if they're going to sleep with a guy who's only educated himself from these rough scenes, what they're going to have their hair pulled, they're going to have slapping, they're going to have choking, and it is not done how it looks like online. It's basically like a stunt. It's not done how it looks. So I like to say to these people, whether they're, you know, like I said, virgins or just new, you know, try and choke me if you want to do the choking, but this is how you do it, or this is how you pull hair, or if you want to smack me, make sure you ask how, if I like it hard, or if you want it lighter, or where I want to be smacked. Because in my eyes, discussing consent and what you enjoy is sexy. Whereas some people shy away from that. They think, oh, I have to go into that bedroom knowing exactly what to do and how to do it. And that's not the case.
I think all porn's misleading, though. Like, I've watched some of your I know exactly what you mean. Like, people aren't getting their hair pulled out, you know, screaming, held down. Like, but then I've watched your content, and that for me isn't what sex is. So I think it's very objective of what it is to you. But take me back. I'm in the queue. I've queued up for a few hours. I know you said you have to get checked for an STD. Is that right?
No, so you have to wear condoms. If it was like, say if you was an OnlyFans creator, you'd have to have a full STD panel test.
Okay.
And we'd have to show each other the results.
But the boys can just wear a condom?
Yes.
Okay. So worry you about what if they snap and you get something?
Yeah, it does. Like, it is a concern, which is why I get tested on a regular basis.
But you'd never be able to know who it was anyway.
No, I wouldn't know who it is, but it'd protect myself. And then I'd be able to let, obviously, everyone that I sleep with as well, I've got everyone's details, their numbers. I'd be able to straight away let them know to say, hey, this is my test results.
And what about accidentally falling pregnant?
Yeah, I'm on protection, obviously, and I have got a condom. But if that was to happen, it'd be it's tomorrow's problem.
Okay, so I'm in the queue. I've waited for a few hours. What does coming to see you look like?
So I'd come down and I'd ask you if you've got your ID with you.
Yeah.
And once you confirmed you have, I'd take you upstairs. I'd show you the consent forms you have to fill out. And I would take photos of your ID and you holding your ID. And yeah, I'd discuss then. So once you've done the consent forms, it usually takes about 10 minutes. I'd say, oh, do you want to freshen up, or do you want a drink or anything like that? And then I'd show them the apartment. Sometimes people want to have sex in the shower, the living room, the bedroom. And I sort of say to them, like, choose where you want to.
Is this your house?
No, so I'll do it in like different hotels or Airbnbs.
And how long do they get?
So if it's in the queue, each day is a bit different. I did one day so I could get through a lot of people. I said, oh, spend 2 minutes with me alone, or double it and pass it to your friend. So some of them only got 2 minutes.
Yeah.
One of the days I did straws. It was like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, like 30 minutes. And they'd pick a straw, and depending on what straw they picked would determine how long they had with me in the bedroom. And then other times they get given a 2-hour time slot. So it's a mixture.
And so how long are you actually having intercourse for in a day, do you reckon?
Gosh, well, I can remember the first one I did. He just turned 18 and he took an hour and a half.
Surely you're bored. Come on,
bored.
Listen, even if I was having sex with my boyfriend, I'd be like, mate, you're boring me an hour and a half. Come on.
It's different because it was your first time with your boyfriend.
Or
it's
even
different.
now, like, if we went and had sex now for an hour and a half, like, I don't care what anyone says. No one is having sex for an hour and a half without being bored. No? It's like a whole film. I couldn't even watch a whole film.
It's more, okay, what do you enjoy? Like, it's more like they get to learn about your body and you get to learn about them. So there's a lot more that goes off within that. You know, it's not just consistent doggy switching positions. Like, there's more that goes on.
But you say you're educating them, but really you're only educating them on what you like.
Yeah, but I also say, okay, other women might not like this. Or when it comes to hair pulling and choking and slapping and stuff, it's more just to make sure that they're not then, you know, like I said, watch videos online, go into another 18-year-old girl and doing a like really rough hair pulling, and they can just discuss consent. And consent goes for anyone. It's not just about what I like, it's for them as well. So it allows them to go into the next, you know, sexual encounter going, okay, I'm going to ask this girl, does she want it, you know, faster or slower? Like, I would tell them ways to ask them in the bedroom that is in a sexy way. Like, you don't need to suddenly, say if you're having sex in doggy, stop and go, would you want me to stop, or do you want me to do it faster? Like, you can say it in a sexy way, which is going to be pleasurable for both the guy and the girl. So it's more just showing them, like, you can discuss it in a nice way.
Are you telling me you're actually getting turned on by sleeping with these people?
I finish a lot of the time, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. So before, like going back when I first started, no, it was always fake. Like, for many reasons. One, I was so aware the cameras were on, and I didn't really fully understand like what I enjoyed or what I wanted. Sometimes I'd be nervous thinking, oh, it's going to take me too long to finish. I'm just going to have to fake it. Like, just sometimes something can feel really good, but it still takes you a while to actually finish. And I'd panic and think, oh my God, okay, I'm just going to have to fake it, because I don't want the guy to think he's doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, I don't know, it just used to panic me.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that you're enjoying each encounter though.
Yeah, like
especially, listen, let's not override everyone's superficial, what someone looks like, what someone smells like, what kind of body shape they are. You must have seen some creatures come through there, yeah?
You see a mixture.
No matter what, you can't override your gut instincts. Like, you can't put someone in front of me, Bonnie, and make me fancy them. You can't.
Oh, I don't necessarily fancy them.
Or enjoy them inside me without my whole body being like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, I struggle to believe that you're enjoying all of it.
I think it's different because I think we see sex very differently. I see it as more, okay, and the other thing is, some of the time, some of my encounters with them, I'm there purely to give them pleasure.
Well, it's very transactional for you, isn't it?
Yes and no. Like, some of them I want to say to them, look, I want to pleasure you. I want to give you an amazing service. I want to give you such a good, like, you know, a good time. So some of them, it's not about me.
But why shouldn't it be about you? Because they're not your mates. They're not you don't know them. You've not met them. They've queued up. Why shouldn't it be about you then?
Because they're the people that have got me to where I am today. If it wasn't for them people, I wouldn't be who I am now or have the lifestyle I have now. So I enjoy giving back. I enjoy saying thank you. Like, thank you for getting me to where I am. I want to do something in return. They don't want a Christmas box or an advent calendar. They want me. They've watched me in the videos and they want to experience either what I feel like inside or what I feel like, giving them pleasure. And I want to give them that. No, I don't have to, but I choose to.
And also, if you stop now, the career stops, no?
The career?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
What happens tomorrow if you decide to just not do this anymore? It all stops, doesn't it?
Well, like I said, like, if I wanted to stop filming tomorrow, I could still sell my content I have. But like, I don't want to stop. Or like, if I wanted to stop, I could retire today.
Yeah. Is it not painful?
No,
because these are like two completely different sexual experiences, right? So I'm probably quite prude. Well, I know I'm quite prude, yeah. I've only ever slept with people that are my partners.
Yeah.
So, and I am a huge, without going woo woo, like I'm very like energetic. Like I can feel people, like, and for me, it's always about connection. And what I see in your content is like very transactional. And I'm watching something, I think like that's got her on a physical level. Like I don't care who you are.
What, like the big ones? Or you mean just 'cause I've done so many?
All of it. I think, ow, like
yeah,
that's got to hurt.
I think because it's like, and it is a shock to people. I genuinely do enjoy it. Like
I don't know.
I have a high sex drive and I get a lot of pleasure from it. Like before, like my friends that used to say, "Oh God, I've had sex this morning. I can't wait for it again tonight." I'd be thinking, oh, "Gosh, that's a lot." Like I'd probably have sex before like 3-4 times a week, and like. And that was a high active week for me.
Yeah.
Whereas now that's, done and dusted by lunchtime. And yeah, I genuinely enjoy it. I receive pleasure from it. I finish most of the time. And it's because I'm more confident in myself to say, hey, this is what I want you to do. Or can you pleasure me like this? Like, just because whether they're a porn star or a virgin, like you said, everybody's different. So just because they've pleasured either thousands of women or no women before, it's down to me to say, hey, this is what I like. This is what I enjoy. Can you do this to me, please?
So underneath it all, we've spoken about the money and the freedom.
Yeah.
But what do you think's driving you? Do I think there's something else we're missing?
People really think I'm traumatized or I've got daddy issues, but like I'm generally just having a good time. Like I have fun. Like each day is exciting. Like today I'm coming to see you. Then I'm like going to meet my stylist later on. And not every day is being pounded, bent over the desk. Like there's more to it.
Do you like being famous?
I don't know. I wouldn't really say I'm
because I think we're chasing
famous.
that a bit as well. No, like we all do it. Like I'm not sitting here judging you, right?
Yeah.
The bigger my show gets, the more I get recognised when I go out. You'd be lying if you said you don't enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
But I take pride in being what I'm recognised for, and I wonder if you enjoy being recognised for those right reasons, and if I don't know if people ever abused you on the street.
No one ever.
Why don't we go out after? I'll bring the cameraman to see what.
Yeah, no one has
ask
ever.
them.
Yeah, so. Like people that come up to me, loads of girls as well, like loads of young women that come up to me.
We're going to come back to this bit. Yeah, go on, keep going.
And they're like, oh, you're iconic. I love your content. Keep doing what you're doing. Guys will come up to me for photos. I've had dads bring their sons up to me and say, oh, my son loves your videos. Can you have a photo with him? No one's negative to me in person. Like, I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. It will. The bigger I get, the more hate you get. Like, it is going to happen in person. Like, I already receive, as I'm sure you've seen it, a lot of hate online.
Yeah. I have a problem. I listened to the beginning bit because I had to turn her off because she was so awful, that Lottie Moss podcast you did.
Oh, okay.
And she called you an icon, right? I have a massive issue in that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not discrediting you or your journey or judging you. If we make these kind of things iconic, what are our children striving for? You're striving your own version of and success and pornography and everything else, right?
Yeah.
But there's nothing iconic about it.
I think it depends what you want out of life. Like people, if I said I was a doctor, you'd sit here and, give me so much credit. What you probably don't see is the years and years you've spent at uni, the stress, the unhappiness they've had. So it depends what you're trying to achieve out of life. So everyone's journey is very, very different, and it depends what they're trying to achieve long term. Some people, like if an 18-year-old girl came to me, would I recommend this job? Probably, yeah. And it depends what path they want to go down.
So this is my issue, right? Everything in the world at the moment is so instant. Like my 4-year-old son doesn't get it, Bonnie. We order something on Amazon. He's like, Mummy, why is it not here? Everything is just so instant and overnight. And I've been caught up in it with myself that we have no real concept of time. I'm just trying to parallel your journey to mine, right? Some of the biggest podcasts in the world, they're like number one. When you look at them, like Joe Rogan, he's been doing them for 8 years, we've only been going a year, and part of me is like, why am I not there? And we have no concept of time. And what everyone wants is a quick fix, and especially in the world we live in, like ChatGPT, Amazon, Instagram, all we do is see everyone's reels. And what you're saying, is to young girls, don't worry, you can come and do this too, right? And you've become objectified, right? For me, women are Mother Earth. We're meant to birth. We're meant to be create. We're divine, And the minute that you take a woman from what it is and just objectify her, and I found some of the scenes in your content, but again, our sexual press is different. I found it a little bit disrespectful, like what people were doing to your face. I was like, oh, that's when I jumped the most. And I was like, this can't be real.
See, I enjoy that though.
No, you can't. The smell, I felt like I smell it down
I'll
the
say,
thing.
disrespect me, make me your slut.
Why though? You're so much better than that. You don't need to be disrespected.
It's like some people enjoy water sports, some people enjoy different things in the bedroom. And like I said before, if it makes me happy or if it pleasures me, who's someone else to say that can't turn you on? It's like, but it does. But what would make me come? Would it necessarily make you come?
No, of course. And I get that.
So it's like if I enjoy to either be pissed on, spat on, anything.
And we do all that, yeah?
Yeah.
Would you let someone dump on you?
No, because that wouldn't turn me on.
Okay. So I'm curious. So there's a boundary,
yeah. And it's not necessarily like a boundary that's good or bad. It's just that doesn't turn me on. And it's as simple as that.
And has someone weed on you?
Yes.
And you enjoyed that?
Yeah.
But again, I know there are people, I'm not here to judge. I know people.
If you just said to me right now, let's do it, I think, oh, no, I'm not really in the mood. It's one of those things. And it's a lot of time when I'm in the bedroom, some of the stuff afterwards, I think, oh, if you just said, let's do it again now, I'd be like, oh, no, thank you. No. And just because as well you've consented to the first time doesn't mean the second time you have sex with that person that you're agreeing to it again. So it's just, what you enjoy in the moment. And then if you receive pleasure from it and you want to do it again, you can do it again. If you don't do it again. But wash your bed sheets, end of.
Yeah. So with your profile growing, there's a weight of responsibility, I feel, for anyone who puts themselves in the public eye, and that would be my concern if I had a young girl, traumatized upbringing, dislocated family, and was like, wait, hold on, I can go and do all of this stuff, and maybe isn't as strong as you were mentally, didn't have the background that you had, wasn't supported by her family, and thinks that this sex work is this glamorous thing, and she goes down this route. Do you feel an element of responsibility for glamorising what it is?
I wouldn't say I glamorise it. I've always said, there's dangers to it. I've done articles before saying I've had dangerous situations. Any job can be dangerous. You could be walking down the street. You could get kidnapped. You could get murdered. Anything like that. The world is a dangerous place. It doesn't necessarily mean my job's more dangerous than what someone else's. People could say I'm at high risk. I would disagree. I used to feel more objectified when I worked in an office and I had men being inappropriate to me, but I didn't feel like I could stand up and say anything because they was either managers or they was in a higher job position as opposed to me who was an apprentice. So I choose to be, I guess objectified now, but I'm in control of it. Before, when I worked for someone else, I was in a different environment. I was being controlled by someone else. And also you sort of said, women are to have children and stuff. That could be objectifying women to say, you're here to have children. Other people won't want to have children and would see that as a oh, you're saying my main purpose is this.
Just to procreate.
Yeah. And everyone's got different, different goals.
Yeah, what I meant by that is obviously to have children, but it's to nurture, to hold, and to be like the Mother Earth. But I'm curious. So we spoke about the first day you got your £500 roughly.
Yeah.
And camming, I'm guessing, went up incrementally. And
I stopped after about 2.5 weeks.
very quick.
I started the OnlyFans shortly
And
afterwards.
that's a lot more money in that then?
Yeah, so with camming, like I said, I was doing long hours. You have to physically be sat there to be earning money. Whereas with OnlyFans, I mean, while we're talking now, I would have earned 1,000 at least. So it's like OnlyFans allows you to earn money whilst you're sleeping. It allows you to be earning money when you're not actually, physically working.
And for people that are listening and that don't know much about OnlyFans, it's a platform where it's all types of creators, I came to understand when I looked on it.
Some people do like cooking on it, some people do yoga, some people just do bikini photos, and other people,
but it's most known for the sex work, right?
Yeah,
and you would upload a video, and did I read this right? Okay, was it $40?
Yeah, so all the videos really vary. There's some videos that can go from like $5 up until like a video went out last night at $75.
Why was that one worth so much more?
A longer video, a lot more interesting, a lot more like behind the scenes footage. It depends on the video, the length of it, what's going off in it, how many people are in it. It's just how much of a, I guess, good video it is can really vary.
And then will you own that? If I bought that, I owned that video for life?
Yeah, on OnlyFans. Yeah, you'd own it.
Okay, so how much did you start earning there?
So when I first started on OnlyFans, it was about $4,000 a month.
Okay. And then how quickly did it progress? Because I'm sure you said, was it like 600,000 a month you're getting?
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
I feel like I want to see your bank account.
You can.
Okay, we'll get it up.
I always wish as well, because there's so many creators in a way that do glamorise and say, I earn loads of money. And they're not. They're in debt. They're using credit cards. And I've even got friends in the industry that try and either keep up or try and show a flashy lifestyle, but they're in debt and struggling to get by. But because they see other OnlyFans girls, they think, oh, they're not successful or they're not good enough or they must not be pretty because they're not earning, for example, like what I'm earning. And that's not necessarily the case. But with any business, you need to understand the other side of it. It is not just sex. There's marketing. There's so many other things. Like with a podcast, just because we had a good story, doesn't mean it was necessarily going to go get really well on views. You've got to do marketing behind it. You've got to have a good studio. You've got a good editor. Like there's so much more that goes behind just earning money.
So what do you believe has made your content so much more worthy than others, and that you've regardless of my views, but you've surpassed most people on OnlyFans and gone pretty much straight to the top? But what are you doing on there, do you think, that's making people stay engaged and want to buy your content?
It's different.
Okay, tell us.
For most people, it's an OnlyFans, club, which is arranged. It's fake storyline. It's overly edited. It's not necessarily focused on pleasure. It's just here's a video and it's posted. There's not marketing behind it. There's no bigger story. With mine, it's real and it's interactive. For most people, OnlyFans is just an online page where you can message them, and that's as far as it goes. And they can sit there and think, oh, I'd love to sleep with you, and they'll entertain it but never go through with it, which is completely fine because that's what they feel most comfortable with. Whereas with my page, they know I sleep with random people. It's genuine. The storylines are true. I will go to building sites. I will share my location, and I will pleasure people because that's what I enjoy. And because they see the volume I do it at, they understand I do receive pleasure from it, and I enjoy either watching their toes curl or just watching them have a good time. And men like to know if they're wanking off to a video, that girl's enjoying it in the video. And I think they can really see that in me. Like I'm smiling, having a good time.
It's quite interactive is what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%.
And so how long have you been on OnlyFans for now?
Set it up in May, probably started in June last year. And
what are the goals with that then?
When
do they
first
take
started,
money out of it? So it's all good and well, like say you earn 100 grand, 600 grand, whatever.
Yeah.
Does OnlyFans not take some of that? And then what happens with tax? Like how much are you actually left with?
So OnlyFans take 20%.
Okay.
Which I think is a really good cut. So yeah, they take 20%. The rest is mine.
Okay. And
do
you have to pay tax on it? What kind? Is it like 40% or something?
My accountant deals with it all, to be honest. He just, he manages it.
And what have you been spending your money on? Because you sound quite intelligent. I mean, to have a house and to be sold that by like 22, are you being serious?
Yeah, I think people think, I'm quite ditzy or like I've not got brains because I do what I do. But no, I am quite clever with it. Like you wouldn't want me on a pub quiz. Like I'm not that clever. But yeah, like it's more just savings. Got a lot of plans for next year, but I'm in no rush. To start with, it was okay, I want to build a massive property portfolio, which I'm still going to do.
And have you put anything towards that at the moment?
Yeah, so like most of my money I don't touch. Well, I do. I spend a lot of money. Like everyone goes, gosh, you've spent loads. Like I went to Selfridges the other day and spent over 100k.
So 100k in Selfridges?
Yeah.
On what?
Just clothes.
Just clothes though, like not bags, not like just clothes, bags, shoes.
Just
like
bits and bobs.
Wait, clothes?
Yeah, but like
what car have you got? Do you drive or not?
Yeah, I've got a driver, but I've got a Range Rover. Just bought a Ferrari actually.
Stop.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've realised it's going to be quite impractical.
Yeah.
Like I scrape the bonnet to know, like I'm,
Was that just something you wanted? Was it like on your vision board, just something you wanted to achieve, or was that like a off the cuff decision?
Well, now it's not. It's less than a week's wage. So it's not for some people, they've got to save for a long length of time. For me now, it's like, do I want a Ferrari? Yeah, that'd be nice.
And what about your mum and dad? Are they like, because obviously you've come from humble beginnings. I know you weren't poor, but you weren't wealthy. Mm-hmm. Surely any person, and I like to spend money, is like 100k on clothes is obscene. Like that's someone's house.
Yes and no, like because they also see like very early on, they was like, look, what if this money's to stop? Or what if, especially my dad, he's like, what if the platform just disappeared? And
which could happen. They could have a court case and it all could be over tomorrow.
100%. But no, they see my savings. Like they've sat in some of the meetings I've had with my accountant and stuff. So they're aware of how much money I've got just sat there that is never touched. And my money, I'm probably only spending sort of 20 to 30% of what I'm earning. The rest is just put away. So even though, yes, for some people, if they look what I'm spending, they're like, wow, you are burning through money. But I'm also saving a lot more than
What's your biggest outgoing a month?
Biggest outgoing? Probably just my staff. That is, I guess, the biggest.
What does the staff consist of?
So I've got family first, mum, dad and sister.
All of them?
Yeah.
And what do they all do?
My sister, she's not really decided yet.
So you just pay her anyway?
Yeah, so like she'll help me at the moment just with general like assistant things. I said to her, do you want to do like a makeup course? So then you could do my makeup when I've got to do things.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I'm not sure.
So what's she doing right now while you're doing this? Like, I mean,
right now she's probably at home watching some TV.
And how much do you pay her a month?
I won't discuss what I pay my family, but they're all on a comfortable wage. Yeah, better than what there was before. My mum will help, so I've obviously got pets. So she'll help with the pets, help with the cleaning, tidying up. If I need stuff picking up from the shop or I need my meal prep picking up, she'll just make sure that when I'm at home, everything's quite easy for me. So yeah. Okay. So then I've got that. I've got a publicist who helped me with media and like the TV opportunities. Then I've got people that help me with my social media. Yeah. I've got a videographer.
You getting shadow banned or anything on social media? Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. But like my content, like on my Instagram page is never actually that naughty.
No.
And it's not, I don't like, and it's probably going to sound bad to say like the typical OF look.
What's that?
Just like sometimes.
OnlyFans. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Like with I just don't.
Say what you think. Come on.
No, I just don't like all the loads of mini skirts and loads of crop tops and stuff like that. Like that's not me. It's not how I dress.
For me, you're like very pretty girl next door type.
Yeah, like some people, I can remember when I first did my first TV interview, I was with the PR team at the time. They said, yeah, wear like a low cut top and a short skirt. And I was like, no, because that's not me. Like, I don't want to do that. Even though it maybe get me more clicks or more views, I want to stand by what I enjoy. So whether that's coming in a blazer and a turtleneck and people thinking, well, she looks old for her age, like why is she not wearing a crop top and a short skirt? That's not me. That's not what I enjoy, nor what I want to do. So yeah, my Instagram's actually not that naughty, but yeah, it does get shadow banned a lot. I think it's because it gets reported.
Yeah. How much hate are you getting though, and does it affect you?
No, I think people really think it affects me, but it really doesn't. So I receive hundreds of death threats a day, mainly from.
Do you open them, or how does that work?
Not really, no. So I used to go on TikTok more myself, but that was where I would receive majority of the hate comments and death threats. And I just thought, you know what, I don't really want to have TikTok much on my phone, and I don't now. It's mainly someone else that'll post on my behalf.
So you protect yourself from it?
Yeah, because it's not, you don't gain anything from it. And I'm a big believer, why sit there and complain about something you can't, I'm not going to change. And there's no point me replying to that person when they say to me, I'm going to report you to the police for sleeping with an 18-year-old, and then I'm going to come and bash your head in. It's like, if anyone's going to get reported to the police, it's you for saying you're going to come and bash my head in.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Phone the police and say, hey, this girl's sleeping with an 18-year-old that's come with a passport and he's done a consent form. Like,
so my question is as well, like, you have gained huge amounts of notoriety, fame, whatever you want to call it, from doing this.
Yeah.
Could you not have done it all under the radar so you weren't getting the hate, so your mum wasn't getting the abuse? Or if this is really what you love,
yeah,
why does it need the circus that's attached to it?
Because for me to reach the target audience and me to reach the volume either of people I sleep with or the people that buy my content, you're gonna have to be out there. You're gonna have to.
And was that an active decision that you made? You sat down and thought, right, I need to tell the press what I'm doing. I need the world to know. Like,
no, so it's not like the press just picked it up. So when I did my first, it's called Schoolies in Australia, which is basically Freshers Week in the UK. At the time, I'd only just started. I didn't really know about PR. I didn't really know about any of this. And yeah, I put a post on my Instagram to say 18 plus, like, if you're here for Schoolies, like, I'll sleep with you. And then, like, within 24 hours, it was in the news. And then after that, it just completely escalated. So it started off, I guess, in a way, me being quite naive, not realising the extent. At the time, I had about 20,000 Instagram followers, was still earning about 4 to 5K a month on OnlyFans. So
and that was when? How long ago the first
November
Schoolies?
last year.
Okay, so just over a year ago, really.
So it really has, escalated. At the time, I didn't really know. I didn't see too much about OnlyFans people being in the news. Hadn't seen, people getting, like, the press I now get.
So what's next? What is the reason that sits behind all of this? I know you and Lily Phillips want to sleep with 1,000 men in a day. Are you kind of in a race for that competition?
No, not in a race. Like, my biggest thing is, like, getting ethical and educational content out there. Like, the numbers thing, in a way, happened by mistake. It was more of because when Freshers happens, Freshers Week's only for a week.
Okay.
So that was where the sheer volume of numbers came in. It was like, okay, I want to pleasure a lot of people. I want to give them a good time. It was never, that's why I don't do it on a regular basis. It's not like today I'm going, I want to sleep with loads of people. It's not a numbers game for me.
So how often do you sleep with loads of people? Do you, like, once a week, once a month? And that
no,
gives you
so
enough
I've done
content?
like Schoolies, Freshers and Spring Break. And I'll be doing them all again next year. So, and then I'll do occasional events where I'm like, hey, this is my address, whether you're a husband or...
And when's the last time that happened?
Last Sunday. 15th.
And then when will the next time it'll be?
I'm going to do one in January.
So like one a month?
So I want to start hosting events basically every 6 weeks. I want to find new ways to pleasure people, new ways for people to have fun, new ways to explore what they enjoy. So it's going to be happening sort of like every sort of 4 to 6 weeks.
I've got questions because I have seen some of the gentlemen, if I can call them that, they're in your queue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think some of them look like the Grinch. I'm not going to lie. And I don't believe, whatever you say, that you could enjoy sleeping with some of these people, because look at you. And I imagine that you have a certain type as such that you would choose to sleep with. And some of the people in the queue wouldn't be like that.
I think I see their face, how excited they are, and like what a good experience they have. So even if I'm not necessarily physically attractive, doesn't mean I can't have a good time with them in the bedroom. And I also love pleasuring and giving them a good time. Like, there's this one guy, he spent ages and ages in the queue. He'd talk the talk in the queue, saying, I'm going to do a handstand naked and get Bonnie to suck me off. But then the first time he met me, he was too nervous. He was nervous to put it shortly. But then I hosted a freshers party for him to say, hey, thank you for basically bonking me, letting me pleasure you. And he then did the handstand, and the video just shows like what a good time people have. It's not this like disgusting experience or this thing people regret, like they're having a good time. And he also said he'd never been in a group chat before. He'd not really had friends to socialise with. And by the end of having met me and being in that queue for that long, he was in a group chat. They all went out for a drink afterwards. He's now got like a group of friends he socialises with. So it's a beautiful like bonding experience for basically everyone involved. And he's like, yeah, do you want to show you the video? He
I'm so curious.
Did a handstand. And
were you there, Josh?
Yeah, I filmed it.
Oh my, look at the state of him. And you licked this? No.
Yeah, it's not done.
He's lovely. So nice.
Oh my God. What's the most wild thing you think you've done then? Because I mean, that's just...
Wildest. I don't know, I've done some like wild things recently, but it doesn't feel that wild anymore. It just feels like, okay, that was fun. I've let over sort of like 75 guys in one go, you know.
Some of it must have got to the point where it's not fun though. Like I've had sex with my boyfriend and like, not this boyfriend, but boyfriends before, and just like literally looked out the window or been a bit bored, or like that's what happens. So if you're doing 75 of them, I can't imagine you're engaged in all of it. Come on.
I am though, and having fun. Like, and at any point I can stop. No one is forcing me at any point. Like I can remember because it was organised. It's like, oh, you've got 30 minutes left, and I was like, oh, that's such a shame. Like I want it to go on longer. Like I'm having so much fun.
Have you ever pulled the plug on it?
There was one time at Freshers where I said to these guys, no, I want you to leave now, because they didn't want to wear the condoms. They didn't want to keep the condoms on. And to me, it's like, no, this is one of my rules. This is what you have to respect, and this is my boundary. So at that point, I was like, okay, no, you're going to have to leave.
Did they turn aggressive?
Not aggressive. Like they was like, okay, well, you're the one that sleeps with loads of people. Like, why are you concerned about us not wearing condoms? And like with STDs, just because if you've slept with loads of people or you've slept with one person, you can get an STD. So it's more... just shows in a way how people need to speak more about STDs, that you should wear protection even if you haven't slept with many people. Yeah, they wasn't overly pleased that I asked them to leave, but...
Have you ever caught an STD?
No.
Pre this?
I never had. I'd only slept with 5 people, obviously, even though you can still catch something. And then now I get, fully tested every 2 weeks. And I know that doesn't say it prevents you from catching something, but the people I sleep with, say Freshers, have to wear condoms. And then if it's the other events, they have to be fully tested. And people don't get, when people that aren't in the industry, like in the UK for the full test, it's like £450.
Is it?
People aren't getting those tests done.
Because I'm just curious, did your mum not call you a bike when you were younger and said, don't
She
be
was like,
the
don't
village
be
bike?
the town bike.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming you were promiscuous then.
A little bit, yeah. I can remember that night I'd got fingered and done a blowjob the same night.
Oh my God. With the same person?
No, 2 different guys.
God.
Both
and did you tell your mum?
Well, she saw it. She was one of those that would check.
Saw it?
No, so she saw the messages. So she was one of those that would check up occasionally, like on Facebook.
And she was just like, oh, don't be a bike.
She was like, oh, look, just don't do this. You don't want to be known for doing that.
And you were like, okay, mum.
I was like, oh, okay. I was thinking, okay, I need to change my Facebook password.
Yeah, watch me, mum. Yeah. It's like that thing when your parents is like, don't press the button, and you're like, meh.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to go full steam ahead. But no, it was more, she just wanted to make sure I was aware of what I was doing and what could happen. Like any mum, but she'd want you to know, okay, if you're sleeping around, people might call you a slag or a town bike. So she was more just educating me on, okay, this is what could happen if you was to sleep with X amount of people. But
so talk me through this then. Have I made this up, right? Or am I getting confused with you and Lily Phillips that both want... Am I right in saying this? That you both want to get the record for the most amount of men slept within a day?
So it is her that is pushing for the record.
But you didn't want to do it too?
Yeah, so I mentioned it back in August last year. I was like, I don't know if when I'm on my way out, this is just something I want to do for fun or something I'm like going to do. So it was briefly mentioned start of August. I said, look, this is what I think I want to do. And then I think in like September, October, Lily said she wanted to do 1,000 people. Obviously,
so who's going to get there first?
She will do it because I'm not rushing. She's doing it in February. But I don't want it to be rushed. If I pleasure loads of people, I pleasure loads of people. But I want it to be about consent and enjoyment. And I feel like if I was to be rushing that many people, I don't want to lose the pleasure side of it.
Because it's really good and catchy saying, I want to break records and all this, right? Mm-hmm. The Guinness Book of Records. But have you seen some of the Guinness Book of Records? It's like longest birth, longest nails. Like there's 5,419. Yeah, there's 5,419, I think. Like it's not a real fucking record, right? Yeah. So to me, breaking records is when we do the quickest mile, the longest sprint, things that have taken time, discipline, growth. And they set these examples of what it's possible for evolution. Because like all of a sudden, someone's run a 5-minute mile. We know we can do that in 4 minutes 58 or whatever. So for me, it's not a real fucking record, right? It's just girls bent over. She's going to cause herself a lot of damage, right? The lady that holds the record is Lisa Sparks. Do you know much about her? So she did 919, And I've got it written here, So she said, to be completely transparent with you, this is the one event I regret doing in the 21 plus years I've spent in the porn industry to this day. It was a complete shit show. And said it was the biggest regret of her life.
Yeah. I think
that was 20 years ago and it still haunts her now.
Yeah. But some people have uploaded a naked photo and gone, oh my God, biggest regret of my life. Don't want to do that. Like each person is different. Like mentally or physically, she could be in a different position to say what I'm in.
But the physical pain, of having that many 1,000, right? We probably couldn't fit them in this room, like penises. That's going to cause you damage.
I mean, I'm no doctor, so I couldn't really comment, but like I know.
Because there will be people in this world that would probably have to be in therapy for the rest of their life after something like that. And then there's like used to waving the flag, like can't wait to get to the top. It's just, it's mental to me.
I think it's different because obviously there's a video recently of her crying.
I was going to talk to you about that.
It's more
so for anyone who's listening and doesn't know what we're talking about, Lily Phillips is an online creator as well, like you, OnlyFans. And she is in the rat race, which sounds like you're not in as much, to get to the World Guinness Book of Records for sleeping with 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And they did a behind-the-scenes documentary and they asked her about a particular encounter where she slept with 100 people, which to me seems like a lot, like a huge amount.
Yeah.
And what I believe we saw in that moment was the real, honest, broken, damaged Lily Phillips, who then came forward. She cried. She said, unless there were cameras there, she wouldn't have believed it would happen. And interestingly, it's a bit like what I said my coping mechanism is. I just disassociate and go numb. And I feel like that's what I saw in her when she said that. But did that raise alarms for you, or how did you feel?
No, it's more just like, in a way, my content's very different. I'm focusing on pleasure, enjoyment, consent, discussing with them. So it's very different. And like, I think, and this goes for anyone, if you're ever doing something which you don't enjoy, step away. No one's forcing you, to do it. So like, you always want to be happy. And if you've had a good day and enjoyed yourself, then why are you crying?
So is she your friend?
So yeah, we've worked together. Like we do speak, but I wouldn't say like.
So did you reach out to her after the video and like, are you okay? Or
no, we don't speak that often.
Do you think she's okay?
Yeah, well, she's then pushing saying she's doing 1,000. So I just think mentally you either need to choose what the priority is.
Do you think she's just on this conveyor belt and she's like, if I back down now, it's all going to stop? Like if she all of a sudden goes around tomorrow and goes, do you know what, you're right, it has affected me, I can't do 1,000, like no man's going to want to sleep with her, are they? Because they're like, I've just watched her cry, she doesn't really want to be doing this. Like she's probably going to be bent over, like checking her phone, holding on, just closing her eyes, wishing it was all over. If she stops that now and she doesn't champion, say, oh no, it was just like, I was just tired, her whole life falls apart.
I don't know, there's still like, she would still be very successful, whether she does it or not.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, she's been in it a lot longer than I have. She's been doing it for 5 years. And
I don't know enough about her. I'm just curious.
This has definitely been like her biggest months earning-wise because she's had more publicity and because she's had more attention. But I think you have to you have to remember when you're videoing it, there's like multiple reasons for your content. One, your own personal pleasure and enjoyment. Second of all, the people buying that content. So they want to know you're having a good time. They don't want to watch after,
you crying.
You crying. No, it's not. It's not hot. Like it's not attractive, and they want to watch and you're receiving pleasure and giving pleasure. And then also one of the third reason, if those guys in the queue or those guys that you're sleeping with, they don't want to hurt you. They want to they want to know you want to pleasure them, or that you are having a good time and you're receiving pleasure.
Do you think you coming along with the circus and the fame and the press is giving her a kick up the arse to kind of do the same then and start going for these records?
100%. Like it wasn't until I invited to join me for a video that all of them this kicked off. I said, hey, I'm thinking I'm going to sleep with, at the time it was like the record was 916. I was like, I think I want to sleep with 950. A few weeks later, it said, I'm sleeping with 1,000. So it's definitely look, this is what you can do. But I don't think it's like a bad thing. It allows people to see you can make more realistic content. And up until she joined me in a video, she was like, I didn't know if it was real. I didn't know if these people queuing up was either actors or other content creators. And a lot of people I work with, until they actually meet me, they're like, I didn't know if it was just a publicity thing. I didn't know if it was fake.
Yeah, I had those kind of questions as well.
100%. And so then when people see how I structure it or how it's done, they're like, oh, actually, I could do this myself. Or, oh, actually, that would be good for me to do. And I do think it's good. Like, we're able to give back to the people that have gotten us to where we've got to. So I don't think it's a bad thing if other people want to do the same.
Do you want kids?
I think so, in the future.
Does this not worry you about all the... Because like one day you're going to have mini Bonnie, off to her school nativity play.
Yeah.
And she's been shown videos of you being, I believe, disrespected or having sex, whatever way you want to look at it, in the playground. And she's probably going to have to live with that for the rest of her life. And how does that make you feel?
One, like sex is becoming less and less taboo. Like 10 years ago, we couldn't have even had this conversation.
Yeah.
So it is changing massively. I'm in no rush to have children. So I'm hoping by the time, especially the more I'm able to talk about it, the more I'm able to educate people and speak to people about what I do and why I do it, it's going to become even more taboo than what it is today.
Well, I think it's different from being like, do you remember before we used to have like the page 3 girls? Like you would have got taunted then, yeah? So that kind of seems to me, seems like everything you do is extreme, right? It's a bit like me. So like it was either, you know, go in the room camming or go to the office. Like there was no kind of in between. And like you're saying, sex was taboo, but it's changed. But still, 1,000 men, 100 men queuing up, that kind of level of overturn is going to be enough to haunt a child for the rest of their life.
I think they were saying it's like anyone around me. People would think my family either aren't proud or my friends are ashamed of me. But not anyone that sees me sees I genuinely enjoy this and I'm happy. And the same when I have children, they will see and it's not just about money, but they'll see the better life they've got. They won't be going off to childcare. Like before, if I'd have had children, I was working in recruitment. I could not have dropped part-time. I couldn't have afforded it. So they would have had to get dropped off, gone to childcare, you know, gone to school. After school, they probably have to know the after-school clubs that they didn't want to do. At the weekends, we would have had to try and cram everything in. And then when they get all their school holidays, the 6-week holidays, Christmas holidays, I would have still been at work. So it would have been my parents, or they would have been in care, not care, like the childcare. And the one thing you can never get back is time. And that is one thing money will allow me to get is time with them. Like people, I remember when I used to work in recruitment, and one of my bosses at the time was like, oh, my daughter's just on her first steps. Well, she missed them because she was at work.
But you could have been in the next room camping and missed it. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get that. But like...
So how will you sit down with your
daughter? If I have
daughter?
children, I won't... If I then want to stop work completely, I don't have to go to work whatsoever. I could retire now. So especially by the time I have children, I definitely don't need to work if I don't want to.
So how would you sit down and explain to her what mummy did?
Yeah, like, I don't know how I'd explain it yet. I'll definitely explain to him quite early on because I think people are naive of what age people are aware of the internet and what things go on.
It's getting younger and younger, isn't it?
100%. Like, people are shocked when I say, I sit with 18-year-olds and they make out as if it's the first time they've seen a naked woman or they've had, watched porn. They've been watching it for years and years. So yeah, I definitely would have the conversation early. But in terms of how I'd word it, I'm not sure yet.
But I would rather be dropped to after school club than watch my mum get gangbanged or whatever it is and being tormented in the playground.
Well, we're not going to sit around a Sunday dinner going, hey, look, what we're watching for dinner tonight. Like yes, they will see clips, friends are going to show them, but they're not going to sit there and watch it. And they're also going to realise the life they've got because of it. And I'm not saying because they're going to have, nice cars and nice holidays, but people dismiss the fact of private healthcare and other things, which is super important.
And what if she turns round and she or he turns round and like we say, everything's getting younger, everyone's getting more, things are opening up at like 15, 16 and she's like, Mum, I want to start camming or I want to go straight on OnlyFans.
Well, one, they're clearly showing that they're not traumatised or ashamed of what I've done. So I've been able to show them, okay, this is what I do and this is how I do it. So one would not be bothered or phased if they wanted to do it.
Would you not? At
No.
16?
Not at 16, obviously at 18 if they wanted to set it up.
And would you support them in doing that?
If my children, if they never wanted to work, they wouldn't have to. If they would just wanted to manage properties or if I was like, hey, if you want to run a business, here's the money to do that. Like I always believe in having a good work ethic. You need to be passionate about things. You need to be...
But you're not then giving that to your children by giving them everything, are you? If you're saying they don't have to work, they're just going to have a nice life.
No, as in,
they're not going to get your work
here's
ethic.
money to have a business or, hey, you can manage these properties. Like, there'll be things they're doing. But also, like, if you're passionate about things, what if they just wanted to go and do charity work?
That's what I do.
Yeah.
In spare time. Yeah.
That's more than good enough. Like, but the richer you are, the nicer of a person you can be. Because you've got more time, you're able to give more money. So when you see celebrities and they've donated absolutely millions, you think, oh, how lovely of them. But it's because they've got millions to give. If someone else down the road gives you £1, because that's all they've got. So it's like you become a nicer person when you've got more money. And if my children, like I used to love like the idea of going to like Africa or I never looked into it fully, but being able to go and help build a school or just helping out. But I couldn't because I had to go to work. Whereas if my children was passionate about something, I'd be like, hey, look, you can go and do that, or here's money to give to a charity. So they will have like flexibility to go and do what they're passionate about. I'm not saying if they were sat just watching TV all day, every day. No, I wouldn't allow that. I'd encourage them to work and do something they're passionate about.
Would you try and implore them to go down a different path?
It depends what they're into. Like I've got no idea if I will have children or if I do, what they'll be like. It's like you can tell quite early on which one's going to be the outgoing kid, which one's going to be a bit more shy. Like my sister's completely different to me.
Is she?
So if I'd have said, to my parents, oh, one of us is going to be a sex worker, which one do you think it'll be? They would have said me. So it's like if my children don't look like or seem like they'd have the like mentally want to do that, then no, 100% I'd sway them in a different way. But if they wanted to do it, as a mum, that you can't control them for your whole life. They'll only go and do it behind their back anyway. So I prefer to be there and be supportive as opposed to shy away from it.
And what about partners? Are you with anyone?
No, so obviously used to be, but still with my partner.
Met anyone in between?
No, I've had the odd dating experience, but it's just not a priority for me at the moment. Like before, when my single friends would talk about the fact they were single, I used to think, God, they must be so unhappy. Like, how are they single? Or when before I wanted children, I thought quite young, and my other friends were like, no, I don't want children until I'm 30 or even older. I'm like, what are you going to do with your life? How do you not want kids yet? Or how are you happy being single? Whereas now I realise it's because I feel like maybe I was missing something out of my life or my life wasn't fulfilled. So, yeah, now I'm actually being single, there's no problem with that. Everything I thought I needed a guy to be able to achieve what I wanted to, I thought I needed someone there.
And what about when
not the
you
case.
do go and meet a really nice bloke who doesn't know who you are, right? Let's paint a picture. Mm-hmm. You're on holiday.
Yeah,
You meet this guy at the bar. He's 10-10.
Oh, yeah.
He's successful. He's educated. He's got a nice business. You go on a couple of days and then all of we all get it. I don't know if you're like me, but I fall in love straight away, yeah? And then all of a sudden he's like, I didn't know you did this.
Yeah.
And it just, because any real man, we had this conversation at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Does not want to share his partner.
It depends. I wouldn't say it's necessarily not because they're a real guy. I think it depends a lot on their confidence and their self-esteem.
Well, the men in my life would be confident enough to know that they don't share.
Yeah.
The shame I had Ali Twar in that seat last week, yeah, and he told me he's allowed 4 wives. Yeah, I said, mate, I don't share sweets. The last thing I'm doing is sharing a husband because I am enough.
See, I'd be like, that's weird. I don't want that. But that's what he enjoys. And the girls that are
well,
wives.
Let's say you meet this guy who's like, all of this history comes to bite you in the arse.
Yeah. But no, it wouldn't be like my history or biting me in the arse. I'd be like, okay, well, I'd be quite open to an open relationship, or we'd invite other people, into our bedroom encounters.
But don't you want someone to yourself? Doesn't
I can
everyone
have
want
time,
someone
one-on-one time with them, but I also quite like enjoy the idea of having threesomes or inviting other people.
No, but I'm talking about moving forward, having a husband, like a life partner.
Even if I had a husband, I feel like I'd still want to do threesomes. I'd still want to explore different things with them in the bedroom. Yes, they'd be my husband. They wouldn't be going for weekends away with another girl because I'd be, their wife. But I'd want as a couple say, hey, let's invite someone this weekend to come over.
So he can't have sex outside your relationship. You can have sex together is what you would kind of be your boundary?
I think so, but I don't know. If you'd have said to me 2 years ago, I'd be doing what I do now, I'd be definitely not. So it's hard for me to sit here and say, this is what I'm comfortable with, because I don't really know until I experience things. Some of the videos I've done before, I think, oh yeah, I think I really want this. But if I change my mind halfway through, obviously just respect that. So it's hard for me to say, oh yeah, if I was in a married relationship, I definitely would want other people involved, or I might not, or I might want to still say, hey, let's go off and have our own, fun occasionally.
So are you quite open when you meet men with what you do?
I've not really been dating or anything, between the dads and the students, I've not really had much time. But yeah, I feel like if I meet someone, it's just going to happen naturally. Whereas before I used to think, okay, well, as soon as me and my ex split up, I was like, I'm going to have to go on dating apps, or how do you find people? Because it doesn't happen how it does in movies, where you go to the grocery shop and you bump into someone that's really attractive. So yeah, I don't know. I do believe I'll settle down in the future.
Yeah, eventually.
But it's just not a priority. And I'm glad it's happened like this, because before I was so focused on the happiness has to come from the guy, or I'd focus my happiness on someone else. I'd be down to them to make me happy, whereas I'm the sole person responsible. And similar to what you said before, it's only us that can give ourselves confidence. It's only us that can give us the acknowledgement we need. Whereas now I do that. I don't depend on anyone.
And bringing it back to men.
Yeah.
And the loyalty thing. I don't know. Say, for example, my boyfriend's in the queue tonight. How does that go down? Are you still going to shag him?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Is he hot?
Yeah, he is quite hot.
Yeah, well, okay. Send him my way.
Would you shag your mates' boyfriends if they didn't know?
Probably not my close friends, no.
But just anyone else is off limits?
Well,
Because I wouldn't sleep with your boyfriend or anyone that I'd met and had a conversation with.
Yeah, but like if it was, I'd probably say, so say if your husband was or partner was in the queue, I'd say, like, go and speak to her, go and have a conversation. Like, why is it you're coming to see me? Like, is it something she's not doing in the bedroom? Is it something you're missing? Are you, do you have a higher sex drive? Is this something we can do to help, pleasure you, which isn't perhaps coming to see me? But then also people have needs, men have a higher sex drive. And a lot of the time it's their, instincts to come and have, more sex than guys.
Well, I do feel that men can have meaningless sex.
Yeah.
But it seems like you can. Like, I can't.
Before I couldn't. I would only ever think about having sex with someone that I was either dating. Whereas now I'm like, it's just pleasure. It's just enjoyment. It's like a hobby. Some people go and have a McDonald's, come home, go, oh, that was nice. I'd go and have sex, come back, oh, that was good. That was pleasurable.
So the show's called Getting There, Bonnie.
Yeah.
And one thing I've come to learn in life is this destination or this illusion always seems to change. And where are you heading and what's the end goal?
I don't know what the end goal is. I don't know. And before I would have panicked, I had such a structured plan. If you just said to me when I worked in recruitment, oh, what are you doing in 2 years' time on a Tuesday? I'd be like, oh, well, I'll finish work at 6, probably get home about 7. I'll go to my gym class at 7:45. I'll be in bed for 9. Whereas now I've got no idea, which is crazy, but also so happy. And I'm just so thankful as well, as much as people are in disbelief. Like, I've never been happier, never been more grateful to live the life I do. I don't know what
I'm
next
wondering,
year
is that
holds.
caught up with the money though? Do you know what I mean?
Not really. Like,
does it worry you though? Like, we had this conversation, it could just all end tomorrow. You could be
100%.
someone else's fish and chips paper, but it doesn't bother you?
No, I mean, I quite like fish and chips. That's, imagine eating that, seeing me, it'd be quite good. But no, like, it's no problem. Like I said, I've got money behind me as well. So if everything just disappeared, I've got money to protect me and,
and if
keep me.
not this, then what? OnlyFans closes tomorrow. The world doesn't allow any explicit content.
I'd probably then just go into more property.
Yeah.
Property investment. Yeah. But I've never had like a set drive to do something. Like, I thought I wanted to do midwifery. Then I realised women just annoy me half the time. Like, I don't think I could deal with the whinging. So I was like, scrap that. Then I was like, okay, maybe like a detective. But like, I wanted to be a detective that you see on the movies. Doing all like the mass murder cases, like seeing like your Jeffrey Dahmers. But then apart from that, I was like, okay, I'll just have to do whatever job. And like I said, I fell into recruitment. So I did that. So I never had like a set drive or goal of what I wanted to do.
Well, listen, I can't thank you enough for your time, being so honest.
Yeah.
Giving me your perspective, because this is really like a non-judgmental space. Like, I hope that you can see my conversation has literally just come from curiosity.
I completely understand.
I'm not going to lie. Like, I think today's the 23rd of December. Like, I am petrified more than speaking to Tommy Robinson, more than speaking to Ali Dwar. But if I listen to what people want me to do, I'm going to limit, the kind of conversations I can have. And this show, like I say, has always been driven by my curiosity in everyone else in their journey, because I woke up and I was like, I thought we were all heading for the same things, Bonnie. I was the same thing as you. I need this job. I need this. I need my kids. And I came to realise that we're actually all going to these completely different destinations. And yours has sparked a lot of curiosity in me.
Yeah.
I also feel that so much of this conversation represents to me everything that is wrong in the world, because I feel like nothing is sacred anymore. Like we said earlier, our time, our bodies, our reputation, we call it our private parts for a reason. And I'm quite proud that I'm quite happy that I don't have a daughter, because I understand how disillusioned they can be. But yeah, I just want to thank you for coming on and being honest, I guess.
I think it's like different for everyone. Like, you'll probably get backlash.
But obviously I'm older than you as well.
And like everyone, like, it's, if you're asking me questions, it's not because actually you're agreeing or you're promoting it. Like, it's just, this is my path. Everyone's got their own path.
I wonder, my question is like, I'm so programmed to think one way. What has happened to you in your programming to think that's okay? And the same as someone else. So this conversation isn't, before everyone starts jumping and screaming, any different than when I had an underage sex worker on who was underage, you know?
It's more like I've become more open-minded. Like, some of the things I'd say today would be like, or say if you spent the day with me, I'd say something, do you think, oh my God, that's shocking? But it's become normal to me. And it's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's because I've opened my eyes more. Like, There'll be some of your...
Okay, so I want to walk around like this.
Yeah.
I want to walk around with blinkers on. I want to live in a world. Listen, I know men cheat. I don't want to see people queued up doing it. I don't want things thrown in my face because I think the world is ugly enough as it is. And I think what you're doing is you're bringing the dark to the light and being like, hey, guys, this is happening.
I think people
by
can
doing
think
that,
but
you're making it okay. Do you see what I mean?
See, these, in my eyes, I'm like, what is wrong with it? As long as they're consenting, they're of legal age. What I'm doing is an act of pleasure.
No, I don't.
I'm not
anything...
asking people to say, oh, let's fight or let's do this. It's like purely focus on enjoyment. I've said before, like I've got liquid evidence. They're having such a good time. It's
my problem is not what you're doing. My problem is not the men.
Yeah.
My problem is that you've objectified yourself, so we lose respect for women and what it is.
I think women can be objectified all the time, regardless. I think it's how you handle it. Like some women walk down the road, they get wolf whistled, they've got an issue with it, they don't like it. In my eyes, I think, oh, I'd be happy to. It makes you think, oh, okay, they think I'm attractive or they think I look good, sort of thing. Like, whereas everyone chooses different things to either be sensitive about or things they take to heart. I'm more than happy for someone to say, oh, I don't find you pretty, or I find you pretty. Like either way, I'm like, okay, I'll choose to be objectified then because you are, regardless. People judge you or comment on you no matter what.
I get that though.
Yeah.
Well, without any further ado, Bonnie Blue.
Thank you.
I hope you have a wonderful Christmas.
Yes, and
thank you for coming.
Thank you.